Larry, who blew us off last week.
I got to go where I'm needed.
I hear you. He's with First Rule, and he's our tech guy. Good morning, Larry.
Hey, good morning, guys. How are you?
Good. What do you got?
Well, a lot of times I try to bring tech stories, and then I also try to bring products. Well, today we got pie-in-the-sky kind of theories and things like that that are really neat.
All right.
But first, everyone will kind of harken back to Star Trek, because this particular week we've had a huge advancement in quantum teleportation.
Mm-hmm. That's what I thought.
Right. And, of course, the first thing that pops in people's mind when you say teleportation is, Star Trek.
Right, because we are post-flip phone, and we missed the teleportation part of it.
Click that little
there
thing
you go.
on your
Yeah,
chest,
exactly.
and then you're boom.
Where was that? Well, actually, it's been around for a while, but scientists have been trying to prove it. And so this week, basically, one of the biggest things was two independent research universities kind of proved that this works and actually teleported information, in this case, because light particles is what they're using over optical fiber, over 12 kilometers instantly.
What do you mean they're transforming data?
So,
don't we do that every day?
Well, yes, but even when you travel, like when you send light down, let's say, a piece of optic fiber, it travels at the speed of light. It's not instantaneous.
Okay.
Those two things are actually quite different.
Right.
So what this all kind of hinges on, and we won't go too much into the weeds, is a thing called quantum entanglement. It's basically when this weird thing that Einstein called, what did he call it? He called it spooky action at a distance, because he saw it. He was one of the first people to see it, but didn't know how to explain it. And basically, it's when two particles become what they call entangled or intrinsically linked. So when you move one of the particles, the other moves in the exact same way instantly, as though they were connected with like a rod between them. If you imagine like an axle in your tires, you move one, the other moves. The interesting thing about it, though, is that this physical property doesn't matter about the distance. So these guys could be right next to each other, or they could be 10 miles across from each other, or they could be 10 million miles from each other. And as one moves, the other one moves instantly.
So I could sit here and I could move my pen, and in California, my pen writes on the page.
The same pen's moving the exact same way in the exact same space.
But is it wired or is it wireless?
It's completely wireless. Like this is, and again, it can be separated by any amount of distance, light years, across the galaxy. It doesn't matter. And so that's the thing we're trying to...
Is there a video to show this?
This one's kind of harder to show an interesting video, because most of the videos are very technical, very heady.
So what's the breakthrough? You're saying this has been around a while? Or
the theory and the concepts have been around a while, and we thought we could use this to essentially transmit information, just like you said, just like the internet. But instead of having latency or lag, it would be instantaneous transmission, even, let's say, between here and the moon. Stuff like that.
Right.
So that's basically what they're proving. So right now they've been able to do this over 12 kilometers using optic fiber, and essentially using a little photon that they moved in one area and it moved in the other, and they're able to actually transmit data that way.
And you're saying Einstein saw this?
Einstein saw this, but he wasn't sure how to explain it. Because it breaks. It's completely unintuitive. It breaks everything that we kind of think we know, because we can view the observable universe. Because when you move something, it moves on its own, and there's nothing touching it.
I wish Larry was my science teacher back in high school.
I know.
Well,
I would have gotten D's.
Science is cool.
I know. I would have really been interested in it.
All right. What's number two?
Well, the next thing, which is actually a little less heady, is scientists have used 3D scanning in order to digitally unwrap old ancient scrolls of text that they couldn't unwrap before because they'd been burnt or charred, or they were just so old that if you tried to unwrap them, they would just disintegrate to dust.
Right.
So they developed a method in which they can take multiple passes with a kind of almost like a CAT scan, like a 3D scan that's reading the interior of it.
Right.
And then from the bright pixels that they can see on this scan, they can actually then recreate what the text is and unwrap the actual object.
So they're now reading texts that they couldn't unravel for hundreds of years.
I mean, if you look at the video that they released, the scroll that they're talking about looks like almost like a log. It's so condensed, and all this paper's like burnt and crisp, but they're actually able to stretch out the paper, read inside of it, even when you can't physically see it, based on those 3D scans. It's fascinating and going to lead to a lot of new discoveries in archaeology. This was actually the oldest version of Leviticus. It's the oldest version of any Old Testament that they've ever found.
So they just read the oldest book from the Bible.
Unwrapped it.
Leviticus.
Yes, and very, very neat. And they did it in a way that you couldn't have done it before.
Oh,
So-
my
And then they can piece all the
goodness.
pieces together. It's absolutely fascinating.
Of,
If you get a chance
of
to take
all
a
the
look at video.
books they found Leviticus.
They did. But they've apparently done this to 5 or 6 other scrolls so far,
Yeah.
and the process works.
God
So they're
love you.
they're continuing.
Larry Sonnenbach from First Rule. Great stuff as always. Have a good weekend.
You guys too.
Blow your mind with Larry. 7:58.
crazy.
7:58.